The mic drop.
That man is a product of a poor environment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. I can prove it.
Of course there's something wrong with him. He's a Negro.
Oh, man. Space bores me. Gotta be something on YouTube. What do we got here? What's this?
Big mic drop.
In the United States, one big contradiction. Our society has become one big contradiction.
The mic drop. Big mic drop. The mic drop.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Big Mike Drop, and I'm your host, Big Mike. We got the lovely Ronnie in the building. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm good. Hey, y'all.
Oh, man, what's good with you, man? What's good?
Nothing much. Just looking at all this crazy stuff in the news.
Man, we got a hell of a show tonight, man. We're going to have that discussion tonight. So this is, I'm gonna warn you, this is going to be a pre-warning for people. We're going to have a real discussion tonight. This is a serious issue. This seems like an endemic issue to me. And for those who don't know what we're talking about this child abuse, this child neglect, the things that's going on with our babies, from the standpoint of women blaming men for it and acting like they're turning a blind eye to what the women are doing, and this whole thing of no accountability when it comes to how these kids are treated. And then I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it right now. I want to work my way into it. But this is a sick situation. This is a crazy situation, and we're gonna talk about this shit tonight. Yes. So, Texas police reveal the horrific situation in the apartment where there were 3 kids. One was in there that was deceased. So a total of 4 children, boys.
Right.
3 of them alive, 1 deceased. And the mother's off living in another apartment with her boyfriend.
And what's also bizarre, Mike, is I understand that she has other children. The female children live somewhere else altogether.
I'm going to talk about that too, because they just left the boys out there to rot. Damn near literally.
I wonder is it because of their autism? I wonder were they singled out and maybe the girls are more normal.
I don't know. It's crazy.
I hope that's not the case.
I think one of them is grown, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
One of them's 21, the other one's like 17, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this, man. We're gonna get into this. I wanted to work my way in, but like I said, it's too serious. The situation is too serious.
Yes.
And what really infuriated me was the New York Post article I saw about the grandmother. And
Ridiculous.
I want to start by reading that. Also, first of all, y'all, don't forget to hit the like button for me. And let's get the likes up so we can get up in the algorithm, get caught up in the algorithm. Because like I said, as many people that we can get to hear this need to hear this tonight. I'm gonna put my stance up once and for all on this. I have zero tolerance for child abuse.
Right.
Child abuse, child neglect, zero tolerance. Not saying I'm against disciplining children, but this is getting way past discipline.
Right.
This is getting to a point of where it's a sickness. It's almost a pathology. So I'm going to read this story just to go ahead and set the mood. And I know we were going to stay on Halloween topics, but to be honest, this is pretty scary.
Yeah, that was a real house of horrors.
Yeah, this is
real
pretty
life
scary.
Haunted house.
So this article, Heartbroken Houston Horror House. This is what they call it, the Houston Horror House. Grandma speaks out after child's death. And I know the New York Post is very sensationalized.
Very.
They're very sensationalized. October 28, 2021. This was written by Natalie O'Neill. I'm going to go ahead and start reading this. And I don't want to put this woman's face up here, but y'all can go look up the article and see what she looks like. The heartbroken grandmother of one of the children from the Houston Horror House. I think that's just tacky to use that term like that. That's tacky. From the Houston Horror House said Wednesday she should have had adopted the boy before the abuse started, as new details emerged about the violent death of his 8-year-old brother, Kendrick Lee. Linda Smith, 71, grandmother of starving and neglected 7-year-old Javion Kirkland, was devastated to learn he and his siblings were left inside deplorable conditions by their mother, Gloria Williams. Quote, I hold myself partly responsible. I should have taken Javion and adopted him, Smith, 71, told the Post. I should have held on to him. During the court appearance Wednesday, a prosecutor read statements from the 3 surviving children who say they witnessed Williams' boyfriend, Brian Coulter, 31, beat the young boy to death, according to the footage aired on the Houston station KTRK. And I'll share this screen just so you can see these pieces of shit. But I think how they look is very important. Uh-oh. Let me put it on the other screen. Hold on. There we go.
And it concerns me that the mother is not getting the same amount of pressure and time that the boyfriend is getting. She's just as much responsible as he is.
Right. This is Gloria Williams and Brian Coulter. This is the individuals who allowed this to happen to these children. Now, this woman has 6 children. 6 children. She has 5 now. But this isn't the only case. And I started to ask, was it just the black matriarchy crumbling? But honestly, I'm asking, is the matriarchy in itself crumbling?
That's what's happening.
Period.
This kind of behavior hasn't always gone on in the black community. Usually when you heard stories like this, you pretty much thought, oh, that's not a black mother. But now you just never know. More often than not, it's becoming that it's African Americans just as often as any other race. So,
and it's taken on a very, very sick twist now that it is us. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. Not really kind of concerned about. That's what I am concerned about. It's taking on a real sick twist now that it is us. So I'm going to take this down and finish reading this. I just wanted y'all to see these people. If you haven't seen it. That damn blonde hair. For real. Your ass look like a gorilla. You got blonde hair. That's your silverback in this motherfucker. Oh, I gotta get my shit right. There we go. There we go. Coulter allegedly kicked Kendrick while he was lying. No, hold on. Yeah. Okay. The kids say Coulter repeatedly punched Kendrick in the back and face, then covered him with a blanket when he appeared dead. Coulter allegedly kicked Kendrick while he was lying on the floor, not moving, Javion said, according to the prosecutor. When Williams walked into the bedroom to check on her son and found him lifeless, she began sobbing and fighting with Coulter. But the couple soon fled without the kids, the prosecutor stated. In 2015, Smith said Williams, that's the mother Smith, said Williams and all of her children moved in with her while Javion's dad was behind bars, Smith said. They lived with me for 3 years, but Smith eventually tossed them out because Williams repeatedly brought men into her home. We had differences. I didn't want her bringing different men into the house, Smith said, so I asked her to leave. Smith said she had no idea the children were being abused, but now regrets making them go. I wish I would have known how bad a situation those kids were in. I would have adopted all the kids, she told the Daily Mail. I regret kicking her out. I should have never done that. I've asked myself, what else have these kids gone through with all the guys that could have been in and out of her life? Were these kids molested or abused? Javion and his siblings, Jordan Lee, 15, and Trayvon Lee, 10, were found abandoned Sunday along with the skeletal remains of Kendrick, the youngest one. Williams was charged with neglecting the kids while Coulter was arrested for the beating death of Kendrick. On Tuesday, Kendrick's autopsy revealed he died of blunt force injuries. After Williams left Smith's home in 2015, she disappeared before reappearing with Javion a few years later. This is what Smith says. I always felt she had to choose between her kids and her man. If she had to choose between her kids and her man, she would choose her children. But it's hard to say, Smith said of Williams. She had some strange ways, obviously. Looking back on it now, I think I would have asked her if she would have let me adopt Javion. It's just a feeling I got. So this lady's apparently in pain, with what's going on. She's apparently hurt. But it's something at the end of this article, and that's why I'm reading the whole thing, because this is what screwed me up about the whole thing. Looking back on it now, I think I would have asked her to let me adopt Javion. It was just a feeling I got, Smith said. Smith now feels compelled to care for all the kids and is encouraging her son to adopt Javion. So I guess this was the baby mama's people.
That's what I was thinking earlier, because as a grandmother and as a daughter, like my mother, I talk to my mom every day. I know everybody don't have that kind of relationship. But if you haven't heard from your grandson in over a year and he's a child, as a grandmother, you're not calling her like, were you going to bring the baby over? When I'm going to see the baby? None of that. I don't understand this.
No, you know what I think it is? I think it's her brother. I think it's her brother that she's trying to get to adopt the boy. The girl's brother, Gloria's brother.
Oh, okay.
This is the part that fucked me up. I'm heartbroken to hear what happened to them, she said. Smith also wonders if Williams herself may have been abused by Coulter, she said. Sometimes women can be battered into doing things. Who knows if she was struggling, she said. In some ways, she was a pretty good mother. There might be a deeper story. My heart is starting to soften to her. What's up with that?
My heart is not soft for her.
I don't understand why this happens. This is that inability of women to hold other women accountable.
Exactly.
This is that inability of them to put the ball solely in the woman's court. And this is a problem to me. This is problematic. This is getting children killed. And these fathers are supposed to sit back and watch this happen. Now, I'm not saying these kids' fathers were in their lives, because apparently she had multiple baby fathers and niggas was in and out of jail and everything else, which is not uncommon.
Right.
You just keep it a buck. That's not uncommon.
It happens a lot, but as a mother, and it said that in some of the news stories, it said that oftentimes she would bring them snacks, things like noodles and stuff like that. You know,
Right.
one of your children is upstairs dead, but you're still bringing the others food. At that time, you should have been getting away. When you were able to leave wherever this gentleman was or this man and go take your kids' food, you should have been rounding your children up and going to the police department then.
Right.
Instead of going back to the man. That doesn't make sense to me. None of this makes sense.
I want y'all to hear, and this was on Forbes today. I want y'all to hear, and that's the video of the night tonight. We're gonna go through this press conference, at least the first 15 minutes of it, okay? I want to go through this press conference that the sheriff's department had in Harris County about this situation. And listen, charges should be upgraded on this woman.
Yes.
Charges should be upgraded, and she should be an accomplice to murder.
And I'm surprised, being that she's black, I'm surprised that they weren't more harsh on her, because usually it would have been the mother that would have gotten the most harsh charges. But I'm guessing since the children verbalized that the man was the one who actually gave the deadly blow, is why he's getting the greater charges. But she should be just as accountable.
Oh, absolutely. She should be more accountable.
Right, because she's the mother.
You're the one who brought that psycho around your kids.
Right.
And, you know, I hate to say this, but I was with the grandma up until she said that pretty good mother, and she could have been abused.
Right.
You're sitting up having sex and making love to this motherfucker. These folks went off and bought another apartment because they couldn't stand the smell of the rotting corpse.
But I was wondering, did they buy another apartment, Mike, or did he have his own place and she just decided to leave the children and move in, migrate to his home?
No, the sheriff said they went and rented another place, probably under his name, of course, because the place was in her name. So they went and got them another spot.
Terrible.
Sitting up making love at night and all that bullshit. Then the dude came back home and was beating the kids because the other kid, one of the younger kids, had a fresh, I think it was an 8-year-old, had a fresh
fracture.
wound. Yeah. So he was coming back doing the same thing. I'm going to be honest. The New York Post should be ashamed of themselves for that Houston horror house shit. They need to get rid of that. This isn't fucking Halloween or a Halloween gag or a prank.
All of their headlines are like that up here.
Yeah, that horror house and all that bullshit, they need to stop that. That's not cute at all. But I want y'all to check this out. Like I said, this show tonight is an informative show. This is some shit that has to be talked about, y'all.
I hope they keep those kids together. I know they're in child protective service, but I hope if they go to foster care that they're kept together.
And I ain't gonna lie, somebody that's even experienced and gone through that, I would be like, where can you put them? Right. What part of society can you integrate these kids back into? That's something none of us would have to do or would do if we were forced to do.
They scarred for life, and they're already autistic, a couple of them, so they're really scarred.
Uh-oh. It's not letting me go. No. Give me 1 second, y'all. It's okay. It is okay. Give me 1 moment. I was watching Jada Pinkett's damn heavy metal group shit. I didn't even realize that she was on that type of time at one point in time.
Yeah, and her daughter Willow, I like her song.
Yeah, I can't say I like the song.
I don't know which one Jada did, but the one that her daughter Willow did not too long ago, I love it.
The one Jada did was pretty rough.
Really?
Yeah. She
hard rock, Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty like heavy metal. She was talking about blood and all type of shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wild. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Get that added to the stream. And let me get on a different internet here. I got several internet.
Injury.
Y'all hear
They
it?
also found
Yes.
skeletal dry remains. The Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, Child Abuse Unit, and Crime Scene Unit investigators responded to the scene. The children were taken to a local hospital to be assessed and treated. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services received emergency custody of them. Now, I want to pause just briefly just to say that in the midst of the darkness and this horrific situation, that I'm so glad that that 15-year-old finally reached out for help. I want to say that I'm glad that he found assistance at the end of the other line with one of our call takers. And I'm comforted to know that when he opened the door and there was a Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies there, that they could finally receive the care and protection that they've needed for so long. And that's what law enforcement does every single day, finding people in their darkest moments. The mother of the children, 35-year-old Gloria Yvette Williams, and her boyfriend, 31-year-old Brian Ward Coulter, were located late Sunday night and interviewed by investigators before being released without charges. Now, I think it's important to note that at that point, it's still an ongoing active investigation. We didn't find them until late that night. And so we have to make sure that we're being thorough, not getting ahead of the evidence and the investigation that's ongoing. And so at that point, they were released without any charges. On Tuesday, October 26, 2021, the Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit charged the mother's boyfriend, Brian Coulter, with the murder of the child, who was confirmed to be 8 years old at the time of his death in 2020. The manner and cause of death were ruled a murder by multiple blunt force injuries, according to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences. The mother of the murdered child, Gloria Yvette Williams, was charged with injury to a child by omission and tampering with evidence. Both Williams and Coulter were taken into custody without incident by our criminal warrants unit investigators, and this remains an active investigation.
Okay. Like I said, they need to upgrade those charges on her.
They definitely do.
Because you are a murderer. You're a murderer. You're an accomplice to murder. Now, if that would have been a 15-year-old teenage kid that jumped in the car with some of his homeboys to take a ride somewhere and a liquor store was robbed and somebody was murdered, everybody in the car is going down, right?
Exactly, for murder.
Correct. You could have been catching a ride and you were still going to go down. So you see where the law isn't applied fairly.
Right.
Based off of genders. I know somebody that is gone now because of this. In a situation, he's gone for a while. There was some child abuse going on. Similar situation, mother and kids. Nobody died, thank God.
Yes.
But he's gone. And the mother's gone as well. Boo Diddley said, you damn right, they taking down the whole car, teenagers. Absolutely. They taking down the whole car, everybody going to prison.
Yes, they
For
are.
the same murder, whether you pull the trigger or not. So I would encourage them to upgrade those charges. We have to protect the kids. And I think it's something to be said about the two daughters. And excuse me, I'm sorry. It's two daughters that are with their aunts. I think one is like 21 and the other one's like 17. They're with their aunts. But they didn't care. Nobody came to get those boys out of that situation.
And the 21-year-old is kind of shocking to me because even when I was like 12 and 13, my little brother, I'm like 9.5 years older than him. I always was like a second mother. I couldn't have a brother across town that I hadn't checked on in a year. As a 21-year-old, and you know, you got younger siblings, you don't want to see them or talk to them, know how they're doing. I guess it depends on how you were raised.
Situations, man, is to why you not there. And a lot of times when kids are in these situations, their mother goes on to have more babies that they may or may not know.
That's true. That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't put it on the kids because they were kids when they were taking out the situation. They ain't got no power over that.
Right, but the whole story is just bizarre that nobody knew that this baby was in there dead. No relative recognize he didn't come to the birthday parties last Saturday. We haven't heard from him for Christmas. We didn't hear from him on his birthday. Nobody realized that this child just fell off the map of the earth.
Nobody was looking for the child. And that's the even sadder part. Now, we get into this whole situation where we were talking last week. Remember, we were talking about the Kitty Genevieve situation and the bystander effect.
Yes.
And whether, how can the neighbors feed these kids every day? How can it not, they didn't even know it was other kids in the house. But how can the neighbors have interaction with this child that you know is a child, that you know is not going to school? At what point in time do you call somebody? How do you have a child sitting in a house under such deplorable conditions?
Right.
And you're a neighbor, and you may be, like I say, passing off food or whatnot, but you're not doing any secondary digging. You're not doing any second layer digging, third layer digging, and finding out why is this motherfucker coming to my house getting food every day?
Because my first question would be, baby, where your mom at? Where's your mama? Where's your daddy? How you doing there? Where your folks? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Everything all right with you, man? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
All it takes is to ask. And if you don't, and if you ask and you feel like you're getting lied to as an adult, see, we need to get up off of this we snitching shit. I'm tired of hearing older people my age talking about snitching. Let me explain this before we go further. Snitching is when you're involved in criminal activity with somebody and you get caught up and you decide to expose everybody else. That's what snitching is. Snitching isn't if you call the police because you see kids naked and starving, in your apartment complex. A lot of people just want to mind their business. And this bystander effect is going to get a lot of people hurt.
Yes. And being that this is subsidized housing, Mike, I'm sure they probably had free heat and hot water, but probably were responsible for their own electricity out of pocket, which is probably why he was charging his phone at a neighbor's house. So how are they even able to heat up noodles? I'm sure they didn't have a microwave if they had no power. But were they eating this stuff raw? How are they eating it? How are they warming up noodles and things like this?
Man, look.
How are these kids living? They said bugs were in the home and everything.
Flies, maggots, everything.
A dead body, I'm sure, yes.
There was a dead body there decomposing. So you had all of that. It's horrible, man. It's disgusting. I don't know. I guess, hindsight is 20/20. And to be fair with everybody involved, people may not pick up on things. They may not have game like that to pick up on when things are wrong, when things aren't going right, or when to ask questions, or when to do a little deeper digging. You know what I'm saying? Like, people with game understand when to do that. You get that feeling and you get to the answer. You know what I mean? So everybody doesn't have that type of game living in an apartment complex, unfortunately.
That's true.
Unfortunately.
And it depends on the socioeconomic status of the observer also, because we don't know their state of mind, the neighbors. We don't know what type of environment this apartment complex is in. So maybe the neighbors aren't that much, in much of a better situation than this family, but they were able to help with food. We don't know the situations of the people that were observing this.
Right.
At this point, I want to introduce Sergeant Dennis Wolford, the lead investigator with our homicide unit, that will speak about the child's murder and updates. A lot of this information will still be general. Keep in mind, there's certain things we can answer, other things we simply can't at this point for a variety of reasons. And it remains active because there's always a possibility, as we mentioned, that there could be additional charges, that charges could be upgraded. So it's still an unfolding investigation at this point. But at this point, I introduce Sergeant Wolford.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. Again, my name is Sergeant Dennis Wolford. I'm the supervisor of the homicide unit that was tasked with investigating this. It's a group of 6 investigators. The lead investigator was actually Deputy John Craig. Child abuse also made the scene with us, and they were invaluable in the input that they gave us dealing with CPS and things like that. One of the things that I want to express, I know that there was a lot of people upset that these people weren't taken into custody right away. And And one of the things you have to understand is, one, the law of statements, the laws of the state of Texas, and how we get these things into trial. We knew at that point that these children were safe because they were in CPS custody. And, the decision was made not to arrest that night. And the reason is because a lot of evidence has to come in before we can actually file charges, including a ruling from the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences on what caused this child's death. We also had numerous people, forensic interviews with the children and stuff like that had to be done. Plus, we have to corroborate what the children are telling us before charges can be filed. So believe me, we, from the very beginning, me, the six of us, the child abuse guys, we were focused on getting these charges done. We wanted to get them done as quickly as possible. But above all, murder investigations, child deaths, child murders, they are methodical investigations. And our end goal is to see that justice is served, not to just put people in jail. We want justice to be served. I will answer any questions that I can for you. There may be some that I cannot. Again, as the sheriff said, in my long time of working homicides, this one's up there. This one affected us.
We'll circle back with the question just a bit, but let me.
Sure.
And I also want to mention that we have members here from our Crimes Against Children unit as well. Lieutenant Lovett and his team are here as well. And so they'll be present if there's certain questions that perhaps they can answer. I do want to just mention a couple things that may come up before we get into other parts of it, is that it's our understanding that the children that were present in the apartment, that there were two fathers involved, not involved in the scene, what I'm saying in terms of connected to them. We're told, we haven't confirmed it yet, but that one is possibly deceased already and the other was simply not involved in the lives of the children, so they were not in the picture. There's also, I believe, at least two other siblings that were not in the apartment that are elsewhere as well. So I just wanted to mention that we are aware of those dynamics as well. I want to just briefly say it in Spanish as well, just recap what we had. El día domingo, el 24, como a las 3 físicas, entonces vamos a seguir, and we will also,
I want to get back to this other guy. I'm not trying to disrespect my Spanish brothers out here. If you need Spanish, I can rewind it for you. But it's to my understanding that there's not really many Spanish speakers on our platform. So I want to fast forward to this guy. Okay, I'm sorry.
So the 9-year-old does have an injury to the jaw that we come to believe was caused to his jaw by the boyfriend, Brian Coulter, several weeks ago. There was no medical attention given for that injury. That injury is going to cause, he's going to have surgery, and that surgery will happen soon. They were very thin. One of the first things I asked them, what are they hungry? And they said they were. And the first thing, I don't know if it was because we're cops or what, but they wanted donuts. So we immediately went and got them Shipley's donuts. But the physical injury that was evident to the 9-year-old, that's the only real overt sign of trauma to them as far as physical.
I want to mention as well, because that was something that was very disturbing, is that back to the different parts, we had the dry remains, skeletal remains that were present. So clearly in our initial observations, the body had been there for a long time, and so that was disturbing. But on top of that, we had a serious injury to another small child that apparently had not received, to our knowledge, any kind of medical attention, any pain treatment or anything like that during the course of this. I also want to point out as well, I mentioned a little bit that the apartment was in a deplorable condition. We saw soiled carpet, no furniture at all, no bedding, no blankets, nothing like that we could see. And it appeared to have what I suppose roaches and flies and just things. It was very bad condition for anyone.
All right, y'all. I know this is hard to listen to. I'm sorry. I just want people to grasp the gravity of this situation. It's no way she should be walking on a $30,000 bond on anything. Period. Can y'all hear me? I think Ronnie gone. But she shouldn't be walking on a $30,000 bond for anything. This is I don't know. It's hard for me to do this. To even listen to it. You there, Ronnie?
I'm here.
Okay, you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, this is hard. Reading the story and looking on YouTube is a little bit different than sitting here and trying to, bring it to the people, man, and try to decipher what all of this
Neither of them
means.
should have a bond, if you ask me. At this point, they should not have a bond.
I don't know what his bond is, but I read that her bond was $30,000.
His bond isn't much more than hers. I think I don't quote me, but I think something I read, I noticed it was like maybe a $5,000 or a $10,000 difference. It's not a great difference. It's not really a significant difference.
Right. Black boys, this is what we worth. This is what we worth. Now, I'll be honest. I hate to go there, but I'm that guy. Would he be giggling and snickering about Bones being in an apartment that long if it was a white girl?
No.
He's
And
like,
they probably wouldn't have no damn bond.
They've been there a long time. Obviously, they've been there a long time. But if that was a little white girl's Bones in an apartment, would you be snickering?
No, and they would be held without bond.
People would be held without bond. Just like the same thing with the New York Post. And I don't want to get off topic here, but the same thing with the New York Post. Was Gabby Petito, was that a van of horrors? You see what I'm saying?
Well, you see what they did when DMX died. They put the prince and the pauper of the death because of the uncle over there in England had also died. So they put the prince and the queen's brother. They put him and DMX side by side and put the prince and the pauper, and they had the worst picture of DMX they could find.
Right.
That was the Daily News, but that's what they do in New York.
I hate to inject race into it, but I think some things is when you have to point out the nuances and the differences. You see what I mean? Of how things are portrayed, how different things are. Like I said, obviously Gabby Petito was in a van of horrors.
Exactly.
But the New York Post didn't portray that story like that. So that's all I'm saying. Diane in the building. What up, Diane?
Hey.
Let's keep going for a minute, man. I'm not going to stick on this press conference too long because it's a 30-minute press conference. We've already listened to about 12 minutes. But I want y'all to hear where they talk about how this man and this woman went off and left these damn kids and got a whole other apartment. Real dude uprising in the building.
Anyone, especially children, to live in.
I spoke with neighbors who were the ones helping give that 15-year-old food, and they didn't know there were two other boys inside that apartment. To your knowledge, did the two younger boys ever leave the apartment for several months? Were they stuck in the apartment?
That's my understanding.
I do not believe that the two young boys were ever allowed to leave that apartment. There is some evidence that perhaps they were locked in, possibly different parts of the apartment, and they were not to leave that apartment, from what I understand.
With what you can tell us, it obviously took, the 15-year-old was brave enough to call you guys, but it did take a year. Fear, what can you tell us about what he's saying? Threatening? What took so long to call authorities?
I believe it was absolute fear. What the investigation is leading us to the fact that this mother and her boyfriend have been together for a few years now, a couple years, and over time, I think that the beatings were consistent and mainly, involving the younger children, and the 15-year-old just absolutely afraid and was basically hoping or relying on his mother to to at some point contact law enforcement and advise of his deceased brother in the house, and that didn't happen. And I think after a year's time, the 15-year-old boy finally said enough is enough, and that's when he decided to contact law enforcement.
So those children have been through a lot of trauma, and so again, I mean, fear, the death of a sibling and other things. It's just heartbreaking, and so the trauma is just at another level. So, one in Spanish.
Sí. ¿Dónde estaban estos señores? ¿Dónde estaba la esposa, la madre y este señor? ¿Dónde está?
Okay, all right. I'm done with this story. If y'all want to, this is on Forbes breaking news. Y'all can go on there and finish watching it. But I'm done with this story. Not this whole story, but this part of the story. I don't understand what's compelling this woman to say that this woman was a good mother.
At all.
And I just don't see it. And I think we need to get to a point to where we're calling bullshit.
Because if she was such a good mother, why did you feel a need to make her leave your home when she lived with you for 3 years? You saw her bringing men in and out of the house around her kids. So how's that a good mother?
I'm going to tell you what it is. She was hoeing. Let's just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying?
The grandmother just probably didn't want to put it in those terms, but that's exactly what was going on, Mike.
That's all that was going on. You still trying to protect her dignity. She in your house hoeing. That's why she's showing up with babies. Why you think she with this fake ass Paul Wall looking dude? He was pimping. Nobody want no woman with no 7 kids for nothing else. That ain't his. I'm just being honest. Jesus Christ. Look. All right, man. We're going to open up the phone lines. I want to know the answer to the question. Has the matriarchy failed? Should men take charge?
Men should have been in charge from the jump. It should have never been to the point where everybody was dependent on the matriarch. But yes, you're right. The matriarch definitely has failed.
Yeah, I think it's over.
It has failed.
I think it's over with. I think right now, anything that's done is just simply managing the decline. We figured out that this system, this situation, feminism is not building up this country. It's tearing the country apart, or what you would call the gynocracy. You know what I mean? The gynocracy is tearing this country apart. That's just my opinion. Don't want to hurt any feelings. That's just my opinion. And it's time for men to take charge. Diane say, hell no. Diane, boo, I think it's over with, babe. I think it's over with. We've had the opportunity. Now we can't even, it's so many stories to talk about.
I think we should be working together. I don't necessarily think that men or women should take charge, but I feel like if the fathers were in some of these homes, then a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen.
I think it's time out for working together.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's time out. We can work together later down the road.
We need to start now, Mike. It has to start somewhere.
We can work together later down the road. But right now, we need to restore order. We need order restored in society. And then, we can start over and negotiate how we're going to work together. But it never turns out to be 50-50 situation. And
that's true.
You know what I mean? And like I say, society's just continuing to break down. Do you know half of these criminals that's in prison come from single mother homes?
That's what I'm saying.
Upward of 80%. If you think I'm lying, look at the difference between single mother raised boys and single daddy raised girls. Look how they turn out in life. If
I never looked at it.
It would look the other way, huh?
I said I never looked at it like that.
Just look at that. Look at what you see coming out of single mother raised homes, which my man, I wish my man Noble was on here. Which, even if you do everything right, it's still a 50% failure rate. So if you do everything right, you're still going to fail at a rate of 50%. That means you got 4 kids and you do everything you're supposed to do. 2 of them motherfuckers going to turn out bad.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So, and it looks totally different in 2-parent households. I want to start the phone lines up. They wouldn't let me do it before the show, y'all. I was trying to be professional, but they wouldn't let me be professional. So let me go ahead and be unprofessional for a minute. We're going to get this going. We're going to get this rocking.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
To start your show now, press 1.
All right.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, we in there. We in there.
Blog Talk Radio.
Diane says she's trying to call, but got to get out the call. Hold on. I got you coming in, babe. Hold on. Let me go and get back up in here. Yeah, now I think this is a conversation that needs to be had, man. And, you know, like I said, if a lot of these gynocratic dudes don't want to bring it up and talk about it, I'll be the one to talk about it. I'll be the one to talk about it.
I'm new to this term, gynocratic, Mike. Break it down for me.
You know what gyno is?
I know what gyno is.
Right. It's just a gynocracy. Basically, where all of the political structuring is structured around women.
Okay, gotcha.
You see what I mean? 515-605-9708. Give us a call, Diane. Real dude uprising say we haven't been working together. The woman that said she don't need a man's help, and we're here together. And here we are. Together was when we respected and valued each other's roles. Exactly. And for the last 40, 50 years, maybe even 60, what have men gone through? Publicly being told how we're not good enough. Publicly being told what we don't do. Being criticized, scrutinized. But then when you try to turn that on its head, then all of a sudden you got all these fucking terms for what you are as a man. You're a misogynist. You hate women. You know what I'm saying? You all X, Y, and Z. You see what I mean? But then we can't sit back and even hold women accountable. You just had this woman, this old 71-year-old woman. Now, she old enough to know better.
Very much so.
You old enough to know better, and you old enough to know what a good mother is and what isn't. Those words should have never came out of your mouth talking about this motherfucking girl. Never. That's right there. It's indicative of that. I'm sorry. Get my words tied up.
You got mad, Mike.
That's fucked up. That's not cool, man.
She might be scared of the lady herself, Mike.
Man, that bitch
because that's the kind of
under
thing.
the jail.
That's the kind of.
She finna be under the jail. There's nothing else to be afraid of.
But that's the kind of thing you say. You give props to people you're afraid of. You know you be lying the whole time.
Now she brown nosing.
Yeah, that's what she doing.
Say that this lady was a pretty good mother or could have been a pretty good mother. And I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of gynocratic dudes out here too. Because that lady that killed her son in Chicago, that's what the boy father said. Well, she was a good mother. I don't understand. How the fuck can you say that? You burying your 12-year-old, dude. You burying your 12-year-old. And you can say she was a good mother?
Ridiculous. And I'm dying to know if this man has...
All bets are off. We got
Diane. I wonder if he has kids of his own, Mike.
Who?
This man, the mother's boyfriend. I wonder if he has any biological children of his own by other women. Because he's not going to kill his child.
Nah, probably not. His child probably safe somewhere in Odessa.
Safe and sound.
Right, safe and sound. He just beating up the little black kids, killing them. Yo, you on the big mic drop?
Hey.
What up, Diane? How you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, we got Diane in the building. What's up? I'm
My
multitasking. I'm
goodness,
fixing it. I'm
what are
fixing
we
a drink.
talking about?
Man, you know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about.
I saw part of that.
Hey,
I saw the story. I don't know the whole story about those children that you were.
I'm gonna be
That
honest.
were, I
got more stories about more children. This is happening on the endemic levels right now. We just had a woman jump off a story 190 feet with her two kids the other day.
And I'm so glad you're bringing it to my awareness and everybody else's.
Oh, thank you.
But it's a deeper problem than that, I think, because, you know, we can look at it like this atrocity that happened, which it is. And I used to not could have sympathy for the people that committed such atrocities, but I have to ask myself now, what happened to them that they're doing this, you know? So not to excuse it, but I'm just saying that people in general need to be healed. You know, that's not okay.
That's a good point.
To not value a human life, a child's life, especially.
Right.
But what brought that person to the point where they were allowed themselves to do that? Because that's where that's where we need to heal the people who are committing these things. Why are they doing that? You know, we need to have more empathy and compassion to these people because we want that to stop.
But
it's like they say, hurt people.
But I think it starts in the home.
That's right.
And I think that starts in the home.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not saying it don't start in homes with fathers. I'm not saying it don't start in homes that have fathers present, but it's usually the father doing it if it's in that house. It ain't some other motherfucker coming from outside doing that to anybody's man's kids.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Well, then when you have two unhealed people, though, when you have an unhealed woman looking for a man, and they've been hurt by men, but they attract these unhealed men who do these things, and they allow it to continue to happen because they're not healed. That's how that happens. But everybody has to take their power back and take responsibility for what they're doing.
Right.
You know, even though I might have been hurt in the past, okay, I can't allow that to let me make choices that are continuing to pass that on.
Right.
But that's what it comes to. You know, people don't just come to that.
No.
So we have to help people come to that.
But at some point in time, I'll say this, the sociopaths are made. They're not really born. They're made. And they're usually made in the house. And, you know, at a certain point in time, I get the compassionate aspect of it. But right now, it's time to get some ass. It's time to get our pound of flesh off these folks. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Lock them up. Knock them out. Hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, they need to be gone. They need to be gone.
Got to protect the children first.
And I'm going to be honest. This is actually a basis for sterilization programs. I'm for it. Some people should be not allowed to have children.
Yeah. The thing that hurts me the most,
and I can say that without a problem.
What hurts me most is that these children were autistic, so they didn't know any better. This is the life that they know at such a young age, so they probably don't even realize that they're being mistreated. They think this is a way of life, probably, which is why it took them so long to probably ask for help.
Right. And if this is a way of life through your formative years, what kind of adult do you think you're going to create?
Right.
If this is the way of life that you learned in the years where you learned everything else, what kind of adult are you going to create?
Yeah.
You've ruined these children.
We need to think outside of our lives. And this is everyone in the world. Everyone matters just as much as my children matter to me. Right. Other people's children should matter to me as well. Right.
That's right.
We can't disconnect. We can't disconnect from each person's importance in this world.
Right.
But people do that. We do that. We're like, yeah, this is mine. That's not my problem.
Right. People do.
Absolutely.
And then we disregard it because these people are so, like, hurt people. And so, but we have to be proactive. We have to be courageous, and we have to face our own shadow work, our own trauma. Because not everybody, but a lot of us have things that have happened that we can say, oh, well, that happened to me and I'm just going to be mad about it, you know?
Right.
And not heal from it.
Man, I kid you
But
not though.
the truth is,
My trauma is where it is, left in the past. As long as I'm alive, I look at other people who have worse things going on than me, and I can't complain. That's how I keep myself
I mean, that
honest.
works for you, Mike. That
Yeah.
works for you. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
But you know, everything is different. It's individualized, and people internalize it differently. So it's up to each person to acknowledge it. Because a lot of times, people who have been traumatized don't even acknowledge it. They just cope.
Right.
And then that turns into some dysfunction.
Right.
So it's a matter of just like allowing people to say, okay, you're not going to be shamed any further because of this. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to love you, and you're going to heal. And that's going to help people heal and quit doing this to each other, you know?
Right.
That's where I'm at. That's
Right.
what I think. When I see people behave like that, I can't understand how anyone could do that. You know, they must. And honestly, I'm just going to throw this out there. There's this book that my brother bought for all of us for Christmas about 5 years ago, and it's The Shack, and it's horrible. It's the worst story in the world, but it changed my life as far as the way I was able to have compassion for people who did the most horrible things to people.
Right.
What's it called again, Diane? What's the name of the book?
That person. It's called The Shack.
The Shack. I'm gonna look for that.
Okay. Like the
Shack.
SHA.
Please do. Yeah.
The SHAQ? Like Shaquille?
Say again?
The SHAQ?
Yeah. No. It's like a shed, like a shack.
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 All right, cool.
Yep.
There we go.
The Shack. Yeah. I checked out on A Pale Horse too. I haven't read it yet, but I've got it on my Audible, Mike. I'm gonna check it.
Yeah, check that out. Check that out, man. We're gonna be living it here in a few, so get to it soon. But hey, I appreciate you for calling in.
Y'all so much.
Yeah, we love you
Thank
too.
you, Diane. Good night.
All right. Y'all have a good night. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, you too.
You too, Diane.
All right, bye.
Bye. Diane checking in on.
Diane.
Yeah, man. Nah, man. See, I understand. I understand where she's coming from, and I understand.
Yes, me too.
You know her thoughts, but I think that's the difference between, like I said, I would handle things a little bit differently with them folks. Because once you start hurting other people, I don't care what the hell you've been through. You gotta go. That's just how.
You've been, and it all depends on the person. Because if you've been there and you've been abused, you know how it feels. So why do you want to put somebody else through that? It depends on the person. It's just like a child that 2 children may grow up in an alcoholic home. One child may become an alcoholic because that's all that they saw. And the other child saw what it did to the parents and they decided they hate alcohol. So I think it just basically depends on the person's mindset.
That's why dysfunction is a 50% fail rate, even if you do everything 100% right. Dysfunctional environments are still going to lead to a 50% fail rate. And that's the best you can do. So, but this isn't something that's just with this situation with this woman in Houston. See, because you had a girl last week, what was her name? Livy J. She killed herself, took her kids, and she didn't take her kids with her. Thank God. You had another lady that jumped off of a 190-foot building with her 2 kids because she didn't want to leave her kids. See, all of this postpartum and all of these mental conditions that are put in, that are thrown out, all of a sudden now we got to hear about everybody's mental condition that they never went to get any help for. Look, if you don't get any help for it, if you choose to not get any help for it, don't bring that shit up as a defense when you do something crazy. Don't bring it up as a defense when you do something crazy. Don't do it.
How old were these kids, Mike? Were they small kids?
Yeah, they were small kids. Yeah. What's this lady's name? I'll let you see it. Of building. might be hard to find because she was a white chick. So you know them stories get buried relatively quickly. But it's almost similar to the Susan Smith story.
Oh yeah.
Let me Google it. Hold on.
Remember that man who threw his kids off the bridge? Was that in Mobile
Yep.
some years ago?
Yep. This was October 13th. New York City woman jumps from 19th floor with her 2 kids. What I'm telling you is you can't find stuff like this. You got to go overseas sites to find this stuff. Mother 39 who jumped to her death with her 5-year-old daughter from the roof of a friend's New York City apartment was depressed after a divorce. This ain't the same story. No, this isn't it. Let me make sure I got the right date. Hold on. No, this isn't the right one. But this did happen in early January 2021 as well. I don't know how you click on something and then it goes to something else. It's ridiculous. Okay, this wasn't New York. This was in Moscow.
Oh, okay.
This was in Moscow. She took her 2 kids with her. That's why you can't find it over here. But then you had the Susan Smith chick back in the day.
Yes.
You know, you had Susan Smith back in the day. Let me take this up off of here, man, because this is slowing my internet down. I'm freezing up and stuff. Let me get up off of here. Hold on. Uh-oh. I took the phone down now. Man, these tech difficulties. All right, let me get back in there. There we go. All right.
They're gonna make bond, Mike. They don't look like they would have the means to come up with that kind of money, but you just never know.
The motherfuckers ain't got no money. But you may have a bunch of people. You may have a bunch of people that do some stupid shit like a GoFundMe.
Who would go fund me for something a crime so heinous to get somebody out of jail? They would have to be just as sick as that mother and her boyfriend to get them out.
People do that shit as sick jokes. Mike, I totally believe men and women need to heal and be as one. No patriarchy or matriarchy. Equal.
I agree with Diane on that note. That's what I was saying too. I think so too, Mike.
We'll arm wrestle.
I think it can be done. Arm wrestle for it.
No, we'll arm wrestle for it. Let's do equal.
Well, you know, if we arm wrestle for it, the man is 9 times out of 10 gonna win because by nature you guys are stronger than us.
And that lets you know there's no such thing as equality. Equality only exists in math problems.
But why does it have to get so bad for men to want to step up and be a patriarch instead of us being a matriarch? Why does it have to get to this?
Because this is what the matriarchy has brought. It's been a matriarchy since the 60s. It's been a matriarchy since the 60s. Since the sexual revolution, women have gotten a chance to do what the hell they want to do and pay no cost for it. Zero cost. Now, a woman can have sex, get pregnant, kill every baby she get pregnant with. As a man, if I have sex and impregnate a woman and she want to keep it, I'm
got to pay child support.
I have to pay child support. So women have been able to run amok for the past 50, 60 years. Sex crimes have gone up since feminism. Since the sexual revolution, sex crimes have gone up. Danger for women. Women are way more unprotected than they were back in the day. This is what women wanted. So then why would we come back when fixing society is ultimately going to be on us? If we want it fixed, men are going to have to take society back and fix it. So why would we come to the negotiating table? Why? Why do we need to negotiate?
But Mike, you have to remember that it was a man that committed this heinous crime. So where does he fit into this?
It was a woman that let the Grim Reaper in the house over her children.
That's true, but you have to look at it like
just walk in the house and start beating up her kids.
They are both equally wrong. But I fought her, even though he did the crime, I fought her a little bit more because it was her responsibility to be the protector of those kids.
She's the mother. You the strong woman. You the strong mother and all this shit that women claim to be. You the mother and the father. You hear all this stupid shit come Father's Day and Mother's Day. You see what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Congratulations, girl. You the mama and the daddy of these 4 kids, 2 in prison, 1 a prostitute, the other one trying to do something with his or her life. You see what I'm saying? So we're celebrating mediocrity like a motherfucker. I don't know how else to say it. We just are. We just are. She let these folks in her house over her kids. I feel a certain way about that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I see, you know, I've seen situations of things that's happened to kids because women make stupid decisions and they're desperate and hard up for dick. I've seen a woman leave her kids at home so she can go to the club to try to get a dude. I ain't never seen none of my homeboys do that. If they got the kids, they got the kids. Hey, man, we're going to skip out on the club. We're going to Chuck E. Cheese tonight because we got the kids. I don't know. Like I said, I might get a lot of blowback for saying what I'm saying. But I feel like it need to be said.
You have a right to feel how you feel, so you shouldn't get no blowback.
Look, all this talk of equality, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
You didn't play our thing tonight. And maybe it's not appropriate to play it tonight, Mike.
Oh, it's coming on. You talking about for our new sponsor?
No, the F the kids.
Oh, hey, look. I know I say this.
That man is a product of a poor
never mind.
environment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. I can prove it.
Of course there's something wrong with him.
He's a Negro.
Yeah, but I meant to hit this one.
Now come on in the house and say bye to Charlene and the kids.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck the kids?
Yeah. Fuck the kids. Fuck the kids.
That's what Lil Nas X said. F y'all kids.
But and they celebrate him. He got his own day, so I'm trying to get my own day too. So fuck y'all kids. How about that?
You gotta be a radical.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Hey, Diane said that's the patriarchy. She's looking for a king, but doesn't know she's a queen. I mean, can't nothing make you a queen but a king. We can go in that discussion too.
That's not true, Mike. You could be a queen without a king.
No, you can't. If you a queen, it's because your husband a king or your daddy was the king. It's the only way you're going to make it. The only way you're going to make it. Challenge me. Anybody.
I don't agree.
Huh?
I believe you could be a queen without having a king.
You can't. You can't. Unless your king died and you were a widow. But there's no way. It doesn't even work like that in the royals.
That's probably why I hear they're getting ready to get rid of the monarchy. Is that true?
Hey, good luck.
I think they're going to try to do away with it. It's going to be hard, though, probably.
They need to, and they can start by looking at us getting rid of it. We need to get rid of the monarchy because we got a fake-ass monarchy with a bunch of fake kings and queens running around here, and we doing the stupidest shit ever. Hate to bust everybody bubble. But a lot of things that's going on ain't king or queen shit. It's just not. Not taking care of your kids is not king shit.
That's horrible.
Not taking care of your kids is not queen shit.
But now,
see, people think that people want to attach. People want to attach value to something that's not valuable. So we like to hide our insecurities behind a bunch of big ass words instead of dealing with our insecurity. I'm not a king. I'm not going to ever say I'm a king until I become a king of something. But I'm not doing that to make myself feel better.
Just calling yourself
I'm
a king.
not saying that to make myself feel better. I'm just not. Got Diane back on the line. What up, Diane?
Hey. Hi, y'all. Oh, my gosh. I had to call back.
Yeah.
This is intense. It's so, I got to say this, Mike. It's true. I mean, okay. I've been divorced for 8 years. A single woman, and my kids were 14, 10, and 5 when I got a divorce. And so I had to get a job, buy the house, do the stuff, to secure our life.
Right.
So that's how I feel like I am a queen without a king. Because
You are.
I mean, right? So,
hey,
but
Diane, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to offend you.
My kids, we wouldn't all be better off if we had a mutual relationship.
Hey, you did a great thing, but I don't want to offend you. But where do you think the queen had to get a job at to do anything to secure for her family? The queen was automatically handed that down.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. It sounds good, but people gotta not let that shit go to their head, Diane.
By who?
Huh? You say what?
I mean, handed that job down by what?
What I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying, what you had to do. Going to get the job, securing a home, and doing things like that. But that's still not a queen. The words mean something.
Okay,
titles mean something. Words and titles mean something. Kings and queens, that stuff means something. We can't start throwing it around.
Someone who fights to secure their property, their possession, their kingdom, their queendom. I mean, when you have that security that you've procured for yourself, what do you define as?
Well, so let's go with the path of logic.
Or queendom.
Let's go with your path of logic. If you've secured your kingdom or queendom, then who become your subjects? Is that your family?
No.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's based off the system. You see what I'm saying? Who are your subjects?
But there's freedom in my kingdom, in my queendom.
Right.
I mean, it's for them. My democracy is, it is to secure their sense of security.
Right.
And so that's why I haven't had anyone in my life for 8 years. So, you know what I mean? Like, I did it for myself, but I was able to do that. I had that option.
Right.
Somewhat because I was able to, because I've learned to work for it my whole life, but also because I was in a position to be given that. I recognize that. I had friends that knew people in a company. I was able to get a job that was able to give me the income that I needed to do what I needed. And so, yeah, I was given an advantage to be able to do that. And so some people don't have the advantages that I had to do that,
which
makes it harder for them, which is why we have to have compassion for them too.
Right. But I mean, I get that.
Because,
but when it comes to the kids, why can't you just, you just mom. I'm just dad. I'm not King Mike. I'm dad. That's my position.
You can be King Mike if you choose to. I agree with Diane.
Yeah,
Diane is the queen of her palace. Mike, you are the king of your home, where you and Amber are. You are the king of your own throne, your own home.
Y'all want to guess where my throne located?
And Amber is the queen.
Y'all want to guess what throne I sit on, though? The only throne I sit on. See, I don't want to.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
I don't want to get vulgar.
But see, Mike, you're
Look.
a different person, Mike. You're a fair person and you're a good person, okay? But there are other men in the world that are hurt and unhealed in ways that you're not, okay?
Right.
Who have been abusive toward women in ways that you're not. So those men need healing as well.
Hey,
That's what I'm trying to say.
Hold that thought, Diane. I'm bringing on another caller with us, okay? I'm adding somebody to the mix. 720. Who we got on the line?
Okay.
It's your boy, Real Dude Uprising.
Real Dude Uprising. What's popping, man? What's popping? Hey, we got a healthy debate going on tonight. So this is where it starts. Diane, introduce Diane to Real Dude Uprising. Real Dude Uprising, Diane.
Hey.
Hey.
What's going
on? When we say king and queen, it is true and above our opinion that those titles mean something. See, the problem is people think they have a kingdom mentality or a kingdom situation, when what they actually have is a villager situation. Getting what you need for your family and shelter and protection, that's village mentality. But nobody wants to be called a villager. There's nothing wrong with being a villager.
Right.
Because kingdoms are surrounded by villages.
Correct.
So
I'd rather be a villager.
You
Let me
wanna
have
be-
my
you
happy
wanna
little
be a-
life in my cottage.
You want to be a villager, and more of us need to embrace that whole that whole context of being a villager, because the whole kingdom thing is like Mike said. It's just trying to put value on something, trying to put a level of value on something that's not even close to it.
It's not. It's
that value.
Right.
Or that glorious.
Right. Real Dude, your phone is breaking up real bad. Are you in a bad area?
I think I am. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay. No, but I understand. I was able to make out most of what you were saying, but that's all I'm talking about, man. Like, we got to get out of the fantasy world. I hate to break it to people. Hold on. There is no your truth. There's the truth.
No.
There's no I'm living my truth. There's none of this shit that people are talking about. This shit doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
He has got the truth.
It's only the truth. There's one truth.
That's it.
You're right. Ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to, because what else could it be?
What else can it be but one truth?
It's math. It's math and science. It's like ultimately it's going to break down to, you reduce it down to the one. There is the one. That is the truth.
Yes.
There's going to come a time where we're all going to have to acknowledge that. That is the truth, right? And that's what you're trying to do, Mike, is help us all achieve an understanding. And I don't think that you're coming from a place where you know the truth. I think you have your idea and you're leaning towards it, but you're open to you're going towards the truth. And ultimately, there is the one truth.
I know that this is not the truth.
And you talk.
I'm not saying I know the truth, but I know that this is not the truth. Does that make sense?
Right.
This has too many inconsistencies to be the truth.
And
it has too
we're all
many
being
inconsistencies
confused by
to be
that.
the truth.
We're all being we're allowed to be confused by that.
Well,
yeah,
because it makes us feel.
My father always said, the truth doesn't come in versions, lies do.
Correct. 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 Like, you could tell, and this is something that Amber sent me this sermon one day, and it was like, when God opens a door for you, I'm not trying to get religious, but we are talking about ultimate truths here. So, I mean, I do recognize that. But when God offers you something and opens a real door for you, it's never a trick involved. When the devil opens a door for you, it's a trick door. It's like, is it door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? When God creates a path for you,
You're confused.
you don't have to make a decision.
Right.
You know what
God is not the
truth
author of confusion at all.
You're comfortable in the truth. So if I walk out here calling myself a king, knowing I'm a downtrodden, oppressed Negro in the United States of America at the end of the fucking day who just trying to get at it. You know what I'm saying? That shit only makes me feel better, bro. But okay, if you a king, where are your subjects? Where's your tax base? That's all kingdoms are about. Kingdoms are tax bases.
Well, you're right. Well, then maybe we need to abolish that whole terminology. Then
we need to abolish the whole terminology.
Doesn't have to even right.
Look, because it don't mean respect. If I call you a queen, it's probably because I'm trying to fuck. Let's just be honest. And I'm a married man. Don't take that the wrong way. But I'm talking about dudes that pander and have that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
See, that's the dudes that's the dudes that's gonna come in the house and beat your fucking kid to death and leave him in the closet and make you move. You see what I'm saying?
Women have been, you know, it's the existence that we've experienced is that men have the power. Whether you're black or white, men still have the power because they're physically stronger. So, you know, women seek that protection from a man, but then women have been denied the right to express our own power, and men have denied the fact that we have that power. We have that power, not over men, but you know, we have a power of our own.
Correct.
And so to balance that out.
The truth is, it's not that women don't have power. It's that they have power in different lanes, in different avenues. And what's being done here since like the late 60s is women have said, I want the same power in the same lane as you as a man. But Mother Nature
we all
is
need to have our
undefeated.
own lane.
Hey.
Mother Nature is undefeated. It is set aside that a man be the head of the family. It is set aside that a woman be the nurturer of the family because a man can never nurture like a woman can. Now, how is she going to nurture if he's gone and she's got to do what he's supposed to be doing? How is she going to nurture at her best?
That's right. That's right. That is so true.
But you got to stop. But you got to stop. You got to stop the rhetoric of saying that being a mother is bad.
And respect the equal nature, the yin and yang of the woman's value to him. See, but some men become intimidated by that, by the equal nature of it, and become overpowering and threatening because they're threatened by their own sense of power. You know.
Yeah,
because I think
whenever there's a battle under the roof,
I think that women
battle under a roof.
I think that women get it confused in a lot of situations, and they try to equalize every situation. Equality, we give you your equality, like it or not. We give you a say so in this. If we're benevolent men, if we're benevolent men with our women,
that's the problem in the way you said. You give me a say so in that. That doesn't feel good to me.
It doesn't feel good, but that's what it is.
Here's a better way to say it.
That's what it is.
I'll say it in a better way.
Say it in a better way.
I'll say it in a better. Mike said, "We give you." Here's the truth. For a woman to feel her power, a man who is a leader has to surrender something
to you.
He has to say, he says, this one thing, I surrender. It's hers.
Right.
It's not like giving, like, I'm going to let you. It's not like giving it, like, I'm going to let you. It's, hey, this door right here is all you. Like, I'm not even going to bother that. You go ahead. That's what a man should be doing.
It's sort of like, it's not just even men and women, but people to people. We determine what you're good at this, you're good at that. And as men, we're good at other things and other things. Exactly. So between each person that comes together, say, okay, this is where you have that strength, and this is where I do. And that's where we have to learn to communicate that with each other and say, This is my weakness.
Yeah.
This is my strength, and this is your weakness. And this is your strength, and this is where we're going to balance it out.
Right. But even,
Yeah.
Very well said.
but even in the process, of what women call achieving independence, let's just go there. In the process of what women call achieving independence, 9 times out of 10, it was a dude that gave you your job that allowed you to achieve independence from dudes.
So mad at you right now, Mike.
You can be mad at me if you want to, but it's not many Fortune 500 company leaders out here that's women.
Why is that?
Because we have to empower you. We have to empower our women. That's a dude's job, is to empower and protect his woman. That's what I'm saying. We give it to you.
Well, let's go back to something we mentioned earlier. The reason why it's 90% that you got that from a man is from king mentality. Let me give an example. A king, let's say a boy is born, his daddy is the king, right?
Right.
And his daddy is still alive. And he moves to a different area of the castle. What he has to do is establish with his father and with his subjects the pecking order that says, hey, I'm the number 2 guy. He has to get that done before his daddy gets sickly.
Right.
But he's still a prince. He's still not going to be a king until his daddy is gone. So he's still just a prince.
He's still the number 2 guy.
No. He'll be a prince until the day his daddy dies.
Right.
He has to get the pecking order and resources in place to establish himself as the next king. It's not just the lie is I'm born as a king. No, because let's remember there are kings who have skipped over their sons.
Correct.
That's where the struggle comes from. That's where the power. That's where the struggle comes from. I have to keep my power.
So the man in his mind is driven to obtain. A woman is driven to sustain. Both have power, 2 different lanes.
Right.
Even from a physical stance, let's say making babies, the man obtains the inertia for life in the womb, but the womb sustains that inertia. The uterus sustains that until it is birth.
Right.
But then a woman becomes incredibly vulnerable when we do give birth, because
a woman is always vulnerable.
Well, right, because who's going to protect these children like their father? So you depend on the man, the father, to protect the children. And then when you're,
that's what happened to the Amazons.
What? Amazon?
The Amazonian
women. People think the Amazonian, they think it's a myth. That's actually a point in Brazil.
All the dudes went off the war and got killed. Is that what happened?
What they did was
because they're not going to be defensible, because they're going to go out and leave you for the next young thing that comes around. It's they're not going to be there for the woman.
That's the problem.
After the children have passed, their prime.
That is the problem. That is the problem.
Okay, carry on.
That's the problem. That you said it right there. That's why most women leave their protection.
Yeah.
Worried about the next young thing out there. That's why most of these situations are breaking down because a man on his King Solomon shit. He building up a harem on your ass. You know what I'm saying? Just hear what it is. Some dudes do it.
Well, are they
you know what I'm saying?
But stay? What you're saying?
Huh? All I'm
saying. Are they supposed to stay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike.
Absolutely. If you want to be protected, if you don't want to be protected, don't stay. I'm not saying you have to stay and put up with bullshit, but if you don't want to be protected, don't stay.
And then you're a subject, and then you're making a woman become a subject to the man.
That's such a modern context, though.
It's a modern context, but we're in a modern world. Why are men supposed to remain
No,
traditional while
I'm
women
saying-
get
I'm
to
saying-
evolve
I'm
into these
saying-
fucking monsters?
I'm saying,
like, why do
I'm
we?
saying the modern context is that she should not stay. Here's the problem with the man and woman dynamic. Well, here we go. Here's the problem with the man and woman dynamics. When the so-called new covenant was made and the priest decided now a man is to have but one wife. When the priest decided that, when the Europeans took over all of that area and decided that, women begat an attitude of, I'm not sharing my man, my husband, right? That's fair, but what they don't realize is before that, it would never cross their minds. A woman used to hold more reverence for a husband who had other wives. It meant he was a bigger protector, more prosperous, and had better hands.
Oh,
it was never
who's
about
winning here?
It was,
That's all about
No.
history written by the winners. Then I don't know about
no,
that.
no. It was never about. Hold on, check it out. It was never about a man's sexual prowess, though, because let's also remember in that lesson, if you were a man and you had a wife that was unhappy and she went to the village about her unhappiness, you were shunned as a man.
Exactly.
You should only be taken.
Okay.
You should only be taken as many wives as you can take care of.
Right.
Emotionally.
No, not satisfied.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
But American women want to be the most important in every goddamn thing. Let's just be honest. They want to be the most important in everything. Look, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest with it.
Yeah.
And guess what they want you to do as a man? You're supposed to come in and take 4th, 5th place behind her kids that she had from another dude. Let's just be honest. You're supposed to come in and actually put up with my kids come first and you gonna protect me. What the fuck? I mean, what are you?
But Mike, sometimes that's even with the biological father. My kids are gonna come first because I am their mother. I'm supposed to protect them. So yes, they come before any man, including their own father, biologically, because they are my kids.
They're actually his kids.
Which is wrong.
They're actually his kids.
Which is wrong.
Well,
why is it wrong? Why is it wrong?
His kids.
It's only wrong. It's only wrong if the father isn't right.
If the father isn't right, then the mother needs to step in and protect the kids.
Not right.
If he's not right, then the mother needs to step in and protect the kids as that layer of protection. But if you with a solid dude that's doing what he's supposed to do, whatever he say goes. It don't matter if you like it or not. Everybody don't have to like it. Everybody doesn't have to feel good. But if he's handling his business and holding shit down, but technically, back in the day, we were talking about this yesterday. A man puts a seed in a woman. She holds that seed for 9 months. That's why they call it a delivery.
Right.
Who are you delivering the baby back to?
Yes.
That's why they call it a delivery.
There you go.
You're not delivering something to yourself. Do you understand?
Like, this is some truth coming out.
Back in the old days, old women used to say, who you having a baby for? Who are you having a baby for? Am I wrong or right, Renetta?
Yeah, black, especially in the black community.
Who you having a baby for?
Who you pregnant for? Who you pregnant
for? Correct. These aren't your kids.
That's why.
These aren't y'all's kids.
That is why when a woman. That's why when a woman gets pregnant, and a man has, let's say, in a husband and wife situation, they ask the man, how many babies did she give him?
Right. She gave him a child. She did.
That's why they say
That's
that.
why these words mean something. That's why I'm getting on the king and queen shit.
Yes.
Words.
But when men stop standing their ground and being the protectors as they should be, that's when women started saying that they had to put their kids first. When other men have to come into the picture, Mike, because if I was to divorce my husband, another man came along, I'm not putting him before my kids, period.
But then in that case, though, Ronnie, in that case,
but they weren't protecting the first woman.
But in that case, you gotta wait till the kids grown. You gotta wait till your kids grown.
Understand that when you do that, right. Understand that when you do that, the one man leaves, another man comes in, and you say, my kids come first with that second man, understand that you're doing a second lap in a 1 lap race.
Right.
But then it's up to him to
Understand
decide
that.
if he wants to stay or if he wants to go.
Because the dynamic is this. The dynamic is this. When you say, I'm going to be with this second dude, in your mind, you should be saying, look, I'm going to surrender this protection role and this role and that role to this second dude. He must know that, and he must be ready for it, but he must know that. But I'm going to tell these women right now, all of them that could ever be listening, if you have kids and you bring in a second man to be up and grow family dynamics with that man, if you do not surrender the position, you are going to spoil that household.
You got to surrender the
You're
position.
right.
You have to surrender the position.
Right. Well, that's right. And you got to
honestly,
be able to trust that man.
And you shouldn't even be. You shouldn't even be with no dude that you have to put your kids before.
Right.
You shouldn't even be going with no dude that you have to put your kids before, because he should be the caliber of man that you know he's going to take care of everybody.
People are going to be good, but they're not.
Right.
They're losing their power of judgment because they haven't healed their own trauma, and they're just seeking someone else to be the person they want them to be, to do what they, protect them, protect their children, make them feel better. But they didn't understand what got them in that position. There's not everybody's willing to do that. Not a lot,
Yes.
You can't just make somebody be that way.
Well, see, everybody's
that whole two laps in a 1 lap race. Yep.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that fucked people up, and I'm glad this conversation went here tonight. But I'm gonna tell you something that's fucked people up. And please tell me anywhere in marital vows, in the Bible, anywhere besides the U.S. piece of shit Constitution that had slaves when they wrote the motherfucker, that it talk about happiness. Happiness becomes the forefront of what everybody want and expect.
Right.
And that shit ain't nowhere in nothing but the fucking Constitution, which is a piece of toilet paper.
Like the pursuit of happiness.
That's a piece of toilet paper. Hey, Charmin might as well have wrote Pursuit of Happiness on there.
But it's in your own tuition, Mike. Into your own intuition. You know how you feel, and you know when something doesn't feel good, and you know things that you want to make you happy. It doesn't have to be a written law for me to know something makes me unhappy and it's not right.
I get it, but people with less discernment than you take the pursuit of happiness, and that becomes selfishness. And that becomes, I could do what I want to do to everybody else because I feel a certain way, and it's going to make me feel a certain way. See, everybody don't know. Everybody can't be empowered. You can't endow everybody with this power that we have. You see what I mean?
Amen.
You can't give everybody this power we have. People abuse power.
Yes, they do.
So when you're not seasoned like yourself, you know what makes you happy. Diane, you know what makes you happy. Real Dude Uprising, you know what makes you happy. I know I like to be happy. I like to smile. I like to experience joy. But it's a lot of other shit that comes that has nothing to do with me that's going to block me from saying, oh, I'm just such a happy person. I had a happy life. I had a life, and I'm going to do the best I could do with this life. But as far as the pursuit of happiness, that's basically a license to fuck people over, including your own kids.
When any person,
have context.
Any person who gets the mentality of putting their happiness as a priority can never fully be happy.
I love that
because it's always a priority. Even and the problem with happiness is happiness is a moment.
Right.
You can go to the mall, get you a nice outfit, and be happy for the moment.
Right.
But somehow, some reason, you don't stop shop. You don't stop shopping. You still keep putting stuff in the closet.
Right.
You're happy for a moment.
Right.
Happiness.
Yeah.
And Western world.
Maybe we should use the term contentment instead of happiness.
Contentment.
Contentment, yes.
Did y'all know that marriage comes before love?
Yes. Love grows.
Marriage comes before love.
You're supposed to grow to love the person you're married to. Marriage is a duty.
A choice.
People used to have to get married to survive. People used to have to get married to survive.
So, okay, I'm a little confused though, because is a man supposed to be able to have more than one wife?
That's up to people's different religion. I personally enjoy having one wife, and I feel like I would be a maniac to try to pick up another one because one wife takes up enough energy. You know what I'm saying? As a man, like a man that has time to have all of these different situations going on is not me. But there are certain religions that do that. But Rashina asked the question.
But do you think that would work though? In this,
it's not going to work in America.
You know, as far as men,
women to be able to have multiple husbands before men to have multiple wives.
Should the patriarchy be able to have more than one wife?
You know something?
Should they be able to?
Now let's say this.
They already are.
Let's say this here.
They already are able to.
I'll say this.
What?
The patriarchy's job.
And does the matriarchy have a say in that, or what? I mean, that's what I'm asking.
No. It's Mother Nature. Look,
it's more of y'all than us.
To men in the whole world is 5-1.
Right.
The ratio of women to men is 5-1. So if everybody has a husband, if every woman should have a husband, what does that mean?
Oh wow! So there's some women left without a husband.
Correct.
No, I'm saying if every woman has a husband, what does that mean? That means that there's men with more than one wife.
5 to 1. There's five women to one man. Is that what you mean, or what is that?
Five women to one man. That's the ratio of
Mother Nature. More women are born than men. So if every woman has a husband, that means every man has more than one wife. Just Mother Nature. Forget about who thinks it should be. Mother Nature has designed it to say the male can have multiple female mates.
I'm listening.
But in America, what you'll find first, you'll find females being able to have multiple husbands before they'll accept men having multiple wives. See, all of this is, man, this is just promoting pervert hookup culture.
But not at the same time.
Yeah, probably at the same time.
Men can have more than one wife simultaneously. Women tend to go from man to man to man. Not at the same time, though.
Hey, hold on. I got another call. I'm gonna put him in. We're gonna try to govern this. All right, I'm gonna let it go. Yo, 314, you're on the big mic drop.
Look, Big Mike, the ratio ain't that bad. In the United States, it's about 51% black women.
Hey, hold on. Who we got here?
It's Bianchi. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's about 51% black females. About 47%. 51% females, black females, about 47% black males, and you got that 1% that don't know what they are right now. But the thing is that you got so many males in prison. You have at least 400,000 that's in prison.
Right.
And of course, that there throws everything off balance.
Right.
And then, like I said, you got those. You got those that's male that seek out other males. So, and then you got some females, but nowhere near as much. So that causes a problem.
Not proportionate, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, with the locked up males and the males who are male on male, the ratio of women to men actually is still at an increase. The ratio of women still substantially outnumber men, even if you go by race.
Well, yeah, but it's the only place that's really this offset is in the United States. Now, you go to some other countries, it's pretty close. You have usually more females, but nowhere do you have an off balance of 3% like you do in the United States.
Yeah, they have to be really, really highly populated nations for that.
Unless it's war.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of the situations. A lot of men.
China, like China, their ratio was close to 50-50. China.
Well, yeah. Now China, even you remember, China was aborting
the kids. Yeah,
the female baby.
Right, they were aborting female baby. Yep. Now speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up.
In the last 5 years,
I'm glad you brought that up because there's actually, and I hate to keep bringing this issue up, but it's almost hard to talk about this topic without bringing up the abortion issue. It's almost hard to do it because so many people in the population, boys and girls, are out of here every day. which is why I'm shifting the responsibility to the men. Look, obviously the women can't handle the pressure. They gotta, whenever something happens, they gotta kill. So men need to stop getting these motherfuckers pregnant. For real. Start wrapping it up and stop getting these women pregnant.
Gotta stop having sex.
Nah, we don't need that. We need them to keep having sex, bro. We need them to keep having sex.
Well, let me tell you.
But we got to stop having babies with them.
If you're going two people, two to tango.
Well, no, wait a minute. Listen to what I got to say.
Stop. That doesn't make sense. Oh,
yes, it does.
That's
well, if you listen to what I got to say, you see how it does make sense. Because at any time the woman can say stop, and anything beyond that is rape. Right?
Oh my God.
Once she says stop, you gotta stop.
You gotta stop, right?
If it goes beyond that, it's rape.
That doesn't stop the inclination of people to want to be close to each other in that way, though. So that's two people wanting to have that type of connection. That has nothing to do with
well,
the woman doesn't have to give in. Stop. There's a moral, prerogative. The moral thing that is it. Okay, I'm imperative. There's the moral imperative.
Okay,
that should be on both people, not two. I mean,
they're in two different lanes.
Well, yeah, but the woman has always used that power.
That sounds like a cop out. That sounds like
going
a cop
back
out.
to Delilah and Samson.
You didn't tell me to stop.
Look,
so,
you can go back to Delilah and Samson. The woman has always used that prerogative.
Yeah.
The Queen of Sheba, Cleopatra.
Actually, that's the equalizer. Hold on one sec. Hold on. That's the equalizer.
Women taking their.
Hold on, Diane. That is actually the equalizer. The power that women don't want to use is actually their true power. See, women want to be masculine. The feminine is actually your true power. The power of being able to subtly, women have ran nations. Do people realize that women have run some of the most successful nations from their bedroom?
I hear you.
Do you realize this? They run this. Madame Pompadour, Madame Pompadour ran France, dude, and Madame Pompadour was a mistress. Madame Pompadour was a side piece, and she pretty much ran France. You see this?
Right.
Because she understood her power.
And the reason
she understood where her power lied as a female. The feminine is powerful.
And
But women don't want to embrace the feminine. Oh, we want to go work. We want to roll up our sleeves and we can do it and build airplanes and shit. No.
Like that power game, that's like a chess game. It's like, okay, I'm going to withhold sex and I'm going to use my feminine wiles, though, to entice you and make you want to see things my way. But I'm not going to commit to having any kind of relationship with you. But we're going to keep playing this game of,
Let me tell you about some other nations.
What. Go ahead. And I'll tell you.
In African countries like Liberia. Liberian women was having a problem with Charles Taylor. So they marched in the streets bare breast. Now there's an insult. And I'm married to a West African woman. I could not approach her. I had to approach her brothers or her uncles.
Right.
All right. And see, this is the thing.
I hope they were good.
For instance, when before I let my daughter date somebody, are you married? I done background checks on them and the family.
Were they really good men, though? Or are you sure they were good people? They didn't
Some of them
abuse other
work for
women
them.
and things like
Some
that?
of them work for them. And let me tell you what I told the one. I said, don't you do nothing to my daughter that you wouldn't want me doing to you.
That they won't
Now,
tell you.
that right there
won't do
draws
it
the
all.
line in the sand that they ain't gonna because they know they scared
well,
of
you're
the
going to call them out on.
Hold on, Diane. Let me finish.
Continue to hit.
Ma'am, you know one reason why.
Said you can't do that.
Diane, hold on. Both y'all can't talk at the same time.
To not hit me.
Diane, both of us can't talk at the same time. Let her finish up. Diane.
What song are we singing now?
Hey, I gotta.
I'm saying that men play a game with each other.
Well, I don't play no games. And you know me myself, I married my 10-year-old neighborhood sweetheart. When we got of age, I married her, and was with her for 38 years. So I don't know these games. Don't know whatsoever.
And most men that raise families don't know these games. It's these renegades out here having babies all over the place and hooking up, running from situation to situation. Now I'll say this. Dating has equated to trauma for women. Do you realize this? Dating equates to experience for men. Now, everything I've been through, every woman I've been with or whatever, I can put that as an experience. Do you realize why men have the proverbial notch on the belt? Do you realize why they have that?
Exactly.
It seems piggish, but this is experience. Men don't sit up and talk about, well, she did this and she did that to me and she did this and she got me pregnant and she left. Dating equates to trauma for women. It's the stupidest shit a woman can do. It's the dumbest shit a woman can do. It's keep dating. It's trauma. It's not experience. Every woman a man dates is experience.
That's not what I'm equating to trauma. I'll just say that. I mean,
that's
not what I'm saying.
But that's what it is,
I
Diane.
take that as my own personal choice and I would take responsibility for that. That's not what I'm equating.
You know, it gets so bad that they hit on other women's husbands too.
Right, because they don't know which direction to go.
Yeah, that's no good.
They don't know which direction to go. Because they're looking for a ghost. They're chasing a ghost.
It's the presenter. The man is the presenter and the woman is the endorser. Remember when Mike said how the lady ran France from her bedroom? It's because the man is the presenter and the woman is the endorser. Even in a club scene, the man goes up to the girl, hey, shorty, blah, 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 blah. At that point, she either says yay or nay. She endorses. That is a woman's true power. She is the endorser.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, what
happens is,
and in most women, we endorse thinking that this person's going to be something ideal
because they're not careful with that judgment.
But that's a problem with the vetting process.
That's a problem in the vetting process.
That's the problem with the vetting process. That's the problem. That's where the problem lies, because there is no vetting process, because there is no courtship. It's all sex. Everybody want to get off. Everybody want to get off. We're all perverts.
See, women
want to get off. So then you start getting the wrong type of people.
Part of our society. We just want it to be this. Whatever we perceive it to be, we want that instant gratification. I want this relationship, and I want it to be like this. So, and we fall in too quickly to something that's not good.
Trill Hands Boxing
women
says,
nowadays put themselves on display, especially the way they dress. Like I say, if you throw meat out, you're going to fool around and get some dogs.
Or some flies.
And that's the way it happens.
You're definitely going to get flies.
Well, I get that. And, there's, if you're going to do that, you have to be prepared to answer that when it comes,
Hey, at what point in time?
No.
But at what point in time are we going to say that we shouldn't be doing it? At what point in time are we really going to say we shouldn't be doing it, man?
This whole thing begs a really great question as for both sexes to say, where can we understand each other better? Because it's not really, there is our nature. And we've talked about this before too, Mike. This is our God. We have an innate, we know what we're meant to be. We were built to be this thing that we are, whether it's man, woman, okay? But we've allowed ourselves to detour from that, so men need to be the God-given men's self and women as well. But we've fallen from that. It's what it seems like to me.
Well,
on both sides.
But what if I tell you this?
Matriarchy or patriarchy. I think there's a failing on both sides.
But what if I tell you this?
And that's why this conversation is good.
But what if I tell you this? What if I tell you that the men like Boosie, the men like Dave Chappelle, the men that are standing up and really saying what's wrong and what's going on, the men like Kevin Samuels that are really standing up and saying what's going on, in order for people to take charge, you have to have people that are willing to not submit, but people that are willing to subscribe to these philosophies that people are putting out there. What's happening is we become so reprobate.
Okay, well,
we become so reprobate that we're obtuse.
Another person's philosophy, that's a pretty heavy commitment. You know what I mean?
It's
What?
really not. It's really
You know?
not. Because none of the stuff that we subscribe
Well,
to
I
now,
mean,
we
when I
didn't
have
come
my
up
own
with it.
philosophy, it might be.
But
So,
we didn't come up with
You
this
know,
ourselves.
another thing too
I'll entertain
that
that philosophy and consider it.
just
but I might
because
not subscribe.
just
I
because
agree with Diane. I second that
that
emotion.
don't mean that they're a man.
Right. We don't understand obviously what real men are, because when we bring up men, then it's all these secondary line of questioning. Well, is he this? Is he that? Is he wrong? Is he this? Like, if y'all really think men are so bad, don't call the police next time somebody fuck with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Next
Yeah,
time you have an
saying
issue,
something.
don't call the pest control guy when you see a rat or a
Men
mouse
are
around the
great.
house.
Men can be
Don't
so
call
great.
men. Men are great.
Yeah.
Men are great. Men
Men
are great.
categorize women the same way too, though.
Men have created a
And
society
like not
that's
all
allowed women
are
to say what they're
skanky,
saying.
meat throwing women.
Men have created a
Now you
society
mentioned
that's
something too about
allowing
abortion.
women to do what they do. Men have created this society.
You
Men created a society where you can flush the toilet and shit actually goes down somewhere. You don't have to drag
don't
it out
come
by
back.
a bucket
But you
and
know
bury
something
it.
else too, if I could say, you were talking about abortion. Black women over a 30-year period aborted over 20 million black babies.
Nazi numbers.
20,
Nazi numbers.
Half your population.
Nazi numbers.
Look. The number one killer of black people is no longer heart disease and diabetes and high blood
Is
pressure.
abortion. It's after the average of what is it? What? Well, it's a heck of a story, man.
That's a lot.
20
I mean,
million
we're not
people.
valuing our own worth.
20 million in a
I know.
30-year period.
Right.
That's crazy numbers.
That's crazy.
That's crazy numbers.
That's like 1,200 a day.
That's crazy numbers.
And I mean, there's a balance that has to be found because.
Let's look at this
you know, I was
other
brought up in
figure.
it, yeah.
Check this other figure. In Chicago, and I have to use that because it's number one in doing this. You've had in 147 days, as of October the 25th, 2,567 blacks shot by other blacks. No white police shootings.
Right.
You hear me? 2,567 in 147 days.
Right.
That's insane.
Right. I mean,
That's
that's
more
a
than
whole
two a
nother
day.
conversation
That's crazy.
of how a lot of women are actually over the cities that are reigning over some of these higher death rates. The St. Louis's,
And you
the
got women
Atlantas, the
prosecutors.
damn Chicago's, where these extreme homicide rates are happening right now. It's women that are running over these, right? They're over these. I sat here and heard Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms say we're not going to victim blame when the Jack Shack got shot up, when the Asian sex slaves got shot up in the Jack Shack. She said we're not going to victim blame. She stood in front of that. You see what I'm saying? It's a contradiction.
Check this out.
It's a
In
contradiction
Chicago,
at best.
The kids wear bulletproof backpacks, and when they run to school, they run zigzag to keep from getting hit by bullets.
Right.
That's a shame.
And they do training. My friend in Chicago.
There's an exercise
And they do
there,
training where
They
they
do an
do.
exercise.
They do. Right, to escape a shooter. Like
Right.
there's not just fire drills anymore. There's like that's what happens when there's.
It's
an
funny,
active
but it's a
shooter. I
shame.
guess we all gang up and kick their ass. I'm like, really? I mean, like, what?
I
How does that work?
seen in the instruction video, they grab each strap of the backpack and they raise it up to the back of their head and they run. I seen it.
And they run zigzag. They don't run straight. They run zigzag.
Hey, and this is the United States of fucking America. We're not talking about Beirut, Lebanon. This is the United States of America, where people
but
want to
you
be
know, here's
happy
the
and
thing.
shit.
White people
Let's
and
be real.
Nigerians ain't gonna take care of that problem. That's the blacks in that area need to take care of that problem.
Hey,
Look,
I don't have
Blacks
the
done
answers.
fled.
I don't have the answers.
This is a third world country with a first world attitude.
The political system
ego.
is similar
I mean,
to
it
our
could be
social
both.
system.
It doesn't have to be just the black people in that area have to take care of it. It could be all people, but
Yeah,
it's
but the old
easier
people ain't
to
gonna come in
say,
there because they be
oh,
hollering racism and everything else. You know,
right.
you know, in
If they could
35
start,
years, black males have killed 324,000 of another black male
Correct.
in 35 years.
Yeah, we're not out of this at all.
That's more people.
I go back to
That's
the
more
whole
people killed in the
are
Civil
hurt.
War.
People are hurt and angry, and everything's getting out of control. See, that's where I go back to, because you know, and then these people who are doing that, they're kids. They're brought up in this society where this is their experience, so they don't know anything else. But they just
kids are brought up in a society where
experience of life.
Kids
they're
are brought
not
up in a
looking
society
deeper into it, to who they are.
Kids are brought up in a society where they're told stupid shit like there are no winners or losers.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are brought up in a society where they're told stuff like there's equality. There's no such thing as equality. There's equity. You can get your equity out of a situation, but there is no equality.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I could wake up every day and have my faculties, and somebody my same age does not have what I have.
Be guaranteed equal outcome if it was equality.
We would be guaranteed equal outcomes. The only equality exists in the math problem. Now you can strive, and you can fight for your equity out of the situation. And that's your fair share, and your fair share is what you put into it. That's what you put into it. You get back out. That's your equity.
Right.
That's not equality. Equality is, we 50-50 because I'm here. Fuck that. You getting out what you put into it. So if you put 20% into it, you get your 20% out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you know, I think that comes from the fact that a lot of times in the past that equality was not returned. So, you know, it should be equally returned so that we can have that equanimity of all, you know, what you could put in, you get back. But there was a time where what you put in, you didn't get it back. Okay. So that wasn't equality. But some other people were giving it back, you know, like the GI Bill. Okay. You could go to war and you could be provided a home when you come back. But if you were black and you were redlined to this certain community in this area, well, you couldn't get it. So you weren't given it back.
But that was over 60 years ago.
But if you were, but at the end of the day, if you were a man pissing out his butt, that when he got home, if you were a man pissing out his butt, it didn't matter if you got a house because you still weren't equal. You see what I'm saying? Because you got shot and you had some situation that happened, and you still have situations
but equal
to where you're not equal.
Duty was given, but not returned. I don't know.
America has no concept. America has no concept of equality. America has zero concept of equality. It's just a ghost that we keep chasing. It's a ghost we keep chasing that people know we're never going to catch.
It's a puppet behind the glass.
Everybody is not, but a lot do. You got to give that
I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, maybe being equal is not. We're not equal. There's some people who are better at some things and better at other things. But
correct.
You know,
correct. Once we get back to recognizing that, then we can actually compete against the rest of the world that's actually competing.
That's right.
Do you realize the only thing America won for real this year in the Olympics? Look at the Olympics. Most of the Americans making noise were not making noise for competing. They're making noise for not competing for some other reason. America is getting to a position where we don't teach competition. We cannot compete.
We'll avoid it.
Right.
We will abort mission.
Because we might not win. What if we don't win?
Right, exactly.
We'll avoid it.
Man, y'all, this is a great conversation, and I don't want to continue into 3 hours. We've been on this over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I appreciate y'all for joining, man. Like, this has been a great conversation. And I think this is a jump-off point to where we can have further conversations in the future. And
let's throw a little solution in there.
Let's throw a solution in there.
I'm going to give a solution. Educate your children.
Mm-hmm.
You go to school, get an education. You get married. You have a family. Have real grandparents and repeat it.
Right.
It's going to take a while to get back on that good balance.
Right.
Because those old enough that experience it know it works.
And stop being stop being perverse out here.
It may not be easy. It may not be easy, but I agree with you on that. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
my solution would be to go back to the village mentality. Go back to the village mentality. Because if we do, we not only educate our children, we empower and ready our children. We not only protect our woman, but we empower that woman. We not only empower the man, but we bring him back to his role if we go back to the village mentality. This is a nationwide village right now.
And then children are going to be secure. But we have to also, something happened in that village mentality before where there was some type of evil or darkness that was able to seep in and cause some corruption.
Well, it was abandoned.
It's called feminism. It was called feminism. It was called feminism.
Aware that is a thing that can happen and call it out. Don't be afraid to call it when you see it.
It's called feminism.
And don't shame and acknowledge it.
It's called feminism. Women bailed out of their position. They bailed out. They didn't want to do it no more. That's what threw society
because
up.
Some women were taken advantage of by that structure. And then they were not able to step out of it because they were shamed not only by the men, but also by the other women. They couldn't admit it. Like, suppose that man was being deviant or abusive.
Right.
They couldn't say that because they couldn't speak out of that structure. So we need to normalize it, and that can't be allowed.
I would say, if you go back and check the numbers, Diane, if you go back and check the numbers do not support that.
I think that
women are in more danger now.
I don't know about
women are in more danger now because there are more
happens.
renegades and independent women out here by themselves. Women are actually in more danger now than they've ever been at any point in history.
Yeah, they had risk.
You know what? I totally feel that, Mike, because as a single woman who, I own my own home, I work, I have my kids, but I have men that say the most. The thing that I feel vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like,
because you're unspoken for. Because you're unspoken for. If somebody was speaking for you, you wouldn't feel that way.
That's exactly right.
So we got to stop teaching young girls that that's the way to be. We got to stop teaching young girls that unspoken for is the way to be. These girls don't have no game. They getting caught up in snares and traps out here, man. And it's sad to sit back and watch it. It's sad to sit back and watch it. It's sad to sit back and watch it. I promise you it is. Because we try to tell you, and people are so concerned about us wanting to make you feel bad. No, we don't want to make you feel bad. We want women to feel good. Men want to make y'all feel good in more than one way.
Well,
but you know what I'm saying?
Women don't want to feel like they want to feel like they're the only one, though. We have to talk about that whole options for men, though. That's a deal breaker.
That's the deal breaker. That's been the deal breaker the whole time. The options. It's the other women. You know something? Hey, compete with them and stop making the man feel bad about it.
There you go.
Compete with them. Compete with them and stop making the man feel bad about it. To be continued.
That's what's going on anyway. Yeah, that's what's going on anyway. Women are competing with women.
Hey, compete with them. That's what we have to do.
But you know what? How would men feel if y'all had to compete?
We
do.
I mean?
Women have the same
Men
power.
have to compete.
Men do compete, but we're cool with it.
We have to compete for survival.
Oh my God.
We have to compete for survival.
Okay.
Diane, do you realize that around a group of men? Hold on. Do you realize that when you're dealing with men, it's always a low-level threat of violence between men?
Yep.
Do you realize that whenever I step into a room full of men, the first thing I'm learning is how I can kill each and every one of these motherfuckers to get out of here? Do you realize that? That's how men think.
God. Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Okay.
Hey, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That shit is true.
It's so normal that men aren't even tripping about it. It's so normal that men aren't even tripping about it.
Wow, that's crazy. And see, I don't relate to that.
You don't relate to it.
Yeah, because I guess we depend on y'all to do it.
Y'all depend on us to
make on men to do it.
Y'all depend on us to make that determination. Go ahead.
That's why
I
you don't
love
hear
this
a true
conversation.
man. That's why you
But
don't
men
ever hear a
don't
true
talk about
man
that
using the
a whole
term.
lot.
That's why you don't ever hear a true man using the term toxic energy when he talks about other men.
Correct. It ain't toxic. It
Right,
ain't nothing
wow.
that can't be neutralized.
Right.
Holy moly! We have to have another conversation about this sometime because
Yeah,
I
we
got to
do.
learn more about
We
this.
do, man. We appreciate y'all for calling, man. Real Dude Uprising. And Diane, I appreciate y'all, man.
Love y'all.
Hey, love y'all too.
Good night.
All
Good
right.
night.
Yeah.
All right, bro. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Damn, man. We got a little heated there, man. I'm sweating, man.
I see.
Man, I'm like, yo, man, this shit making me hot. It's making me hot. Hey, y'all, I appreciate y'all for joining the Big Mike Drop. Ray put the question up, and we still couldn't get it in. What if the man leaves the family for another woman?
That does happen. That happens.
It happens. There's nothing we can really do
It
about it.
happens often.
All I'll say is compete. You have to compete. It's not, we seem to be in a time period where we don't want to compete. And we have to. I'm glad this show wound up the way that it did because it started out.
It was a good show,
somber.
yeah.
It started out real somber. Rest in peace to the young kid that was dead and didn't really get a burial or anything like that. But I hope this mama burn in hell along with dirty ass Paul Wall. No disrespect to the real Paul Wall, but you know why I'm saying this. But I appreciate y'all. Ronnie, you got any last thoughts?
My thoughts are, because the grandmother made the statement that she wished she had adopted them, is CPS going to give her the opportunity to now step in and take those kids into her home, or are they going to be a part of the system?
I will say this. Those kids would go to the state, and I would send them kids to a foster home. I wouldn't send them to anybody in that family.
Affiliated, right.
Anybody affiliated with that situation.
Right.
The same people sat back and watched for a year.
Right.
That's my thought.
That was my only question and concern is, like, are they going to allow her to now at this point, after turning a blind eye for so long, to step in if she wants to?
She shouldn't be allowed to see him anymore. She ain't want to see him through the whole time anyway. She shouldn't ever be allowed to see those kids. Talk to them, see them, nothing. I hope they can stay together, but if they can't,
do too. That's my concern.
But at least they're out of that situation because they were together in that situation.
Right.
So at least they're out of the situation. That's the most important part to me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ronnie, I appreciate you. I appreciate
Good night, Mike. It was a great show.
Good night. We'll talk tomorrow. We got
all right. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. All right, y'all. This show over with. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. But we'll chop it up, man. I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe on this video. This has been a hell of a conversation. Join us on the Big Mike Drop for more of these mind-boggling conversations. These are thought-provoking conversations, and we do that for a reason. It's your boy Big Mike. I'm signing off tonight. Peace.